Hi, this is Joe DiMaio with FantasyPlayersEdge.com. The focus of this week's draft preview will be tight ends, kickers, and defenses. Essentially, these three scoring categories are typically afterthoughts in most draft strategies. Yet typically, these three categories represent 33% or one-third of the scoring opportunities in most league formats. Let's begin with the tight ends. Jason Witten, a healthy Antonio Gates, and Tony Gonzalez represent the top three tight ends this season in the 2009 fantasy football draft. Manning the second tier of tight end possibilities is Dallas Clark, Chris Cooley, and Kellen Winslow of the Bucs. These three tight ends all have the potential to have tremendous upside this season for their respective teams. Rounding out the tight ends who should make their way onto fantasy rosters if you haven't gotten any of the top six are Greg Olsen, Owen Daniels, Zach Miller, John Carlson, Jeremy Shockey, and the renewed Vernon Davis. Chris Baker of the New England Patriots and Brent Selleck of the Philadelphia Eagles represent two solid sleeper possibilities later in the draft for tight ends. Recommending kickers is a little bit like herding cats. It's very, very difficult to do. But what I will recommend is that you target a dome kicker later in your draft, and the person I recommend is Jason Elam, kicking for Atlanta. Decent offense, great stadium to kick in, Southern Division. You don't want to have your kicker kicking in the dead of winter when it matters, and that is playoff time. So keep that in mind when drafting a kicker. If you can grab Elam in the 14th round, go ahead and stretch, pick him up, and ride him for the season. The stalwart defenses this season are the usual suspects: Pittsburgh Steelers, Baltimore Ravens, Philadelphia Eagles, Tennessee Titans, Minnesota Vikings, and New York Giants. With that said, the Chicago Bears, enjoying the return of defensive tackle Tommy Harris, and the San Diego Chargers, facing quarterbacks Kyle Orton, Matt Castle, and Jamarcus Russell, might be the best value in this year's draft for defenses. A solid focus on these late draft categories can make the difference on the road to a championship. I'm Joe DiMaio, FantasyPlayersEdge.com, making sure that you get the edge and win your league.